You felt it, the heaviness in the chest, the silence after loss, the nights where breathing feels like a battle, and you were told, it's just part of life, that pain is random, that it's bad, that it should be avoided. But what if they lied? What if pain is a message? What if it's not punishment, but an invitation? You see, ancient initiatory schools didn't run from pain. They moved toward it. Because pain to them was a threshold. It marked the edge between who you were and who you could become, if you dared to face it. Every rite of passage required suffering. Why? Because suffering shakes loose the false self. It exposes the masks, the patterns, the illusions. And what's left? Raw truth. The version of you that hasn't been numbed by comfort. The soul that remembers why it came here in the first place. You weren't born to escape pain. You were born to decode it. Because pain isn't chaos. It's encrypted order. But only if you learn to listen. The ancients didn't view pain as a mistake. They saw it as a signal, a sacred technology designed to awaken the soul. In Egypt, initiates entered dark chambers, literal tombs, where they were deprived of light, sound, comfort. Why? To confront their deepest fears. Because fear is the first voice of pain. The Sufis would spin until their bodies screamed, not as torture, but as transcendence. They used physical disorientation to dislodge spiritual stagnation. The shamans of the Amazon, they'd ingest plants that brought visions of death, pain, snakes, fire. They weren't hallucinating. They were meeting their unhealed parts in the only language it understood, sensation. Because pain speaks a language older than words, older than logic. It goes straight to the nervous system, straight to the memory of the soul. Modern minds avoid this. We numb it, medicate it, ignore it until it becomes unbearable. But ancient minds listened. They knew. If it hurts, it holds a key. Not every pain is physical. Some aches come from identity, ego collapse, heartache, spiritual isolation. These are not breakdowns. They're breakthroughs in disguise. Pain tells you what's no longer true. It burns away the costume, and what remains is you, unfiltered. So the next time pain visits, instead of asking, why me, ask, what part of me is ready to evolve? Because pain doesn't show up to destroy you. It arrives to reveal what's been buried. Pain isn't random. It's precise. It shows up exactly where a lie has been living, a belief, a story, a version of you that no longer serves your becoming. Think about it. Why does heartbreak feel like physical death? Why does being ignored make your chest tighten? Why do some words cut deeper than blades? Because pain is your nervous system screaming truth. It doesn't know how to whisper. It was designed to wake you up. But here's the secret. Pain doesn't punish. It reflects. Every ache, every emotional wound, every invisible bruise, it's a mirror. And most of us were trained to turn away. We suppress, we pretend, we perform. But the ones who look straight into that mirror, they see something else. They see the map, the blueprint of where healing must begin. You're not just hurting because life is unfair. You're hurting because your soul is trying to realign you with your core. And pain? It's the spotlight showing you where you've gone numb. So instead of fleeing it, ask, what is this pain trying to restore? Because sometimes pain isn't breaking you. It's bringing you home. If this is waking something up inside you, hit subscribe and tap the bell. Because we're just getting started, and what comes next might be the breakthrough you've been avoiding. Most people try to escape pain, but the wise ones, they turn pain into a portal. Here's how. Step 1 is presence. You must feel it fully, not analyze, not label. Just sit with it. Your mind will want to run. Your ego will say, this is weakness. But stay. Pain is a guardian, and it only reveals its secret to those who don't flinch. Step 2. Ask the pain what it wants to say. You'll be shocked what comes up. You betrayed yourself to be accepted. You swallowed anger for years until it became illness. You abandoned your inner child for the illusion of safety. These aren't just metaphors. They're emotional truths stored in your tissue, your gut, your heart. Pain is memory that was never processed, and until it's felt, it becomes your loop. Step 3. Give it form. Journal it, speak it, paint it, dance it, name it. Because the moment you express pain, you take back authorship. You're no longer the victim. You become the alchemist. And then, step 4, turn it into fuel. Use what hurt you to sharpen your voice, to raise your standards, to protect your inner boundaries. Let your scars speak not of defeat, but of initiation. Because here's the truth. Pain doesn't weaken you. Avoiding pain does. Those who transmute suffering into awareness, they walk through life with a presence that can't be faked. They don't need to speak loudly. Pain gave their voice gravity. They don't chase validation. Pain made them self-honest. They don't fear endings. Pain taught them that every death births clarity. So next time you feel the ache return, don't numb it. Light a candle, close your eyes, whisper to the wound, "I'm listening now." Not all pain is personal. Some of it is inherited. You carry stories in your blood, memories in your marrow, trauma in your DNA. Science now calls it epigenetics, the way emotional wounds pass through generations. But mystics have known it forever. What doesn't get healed gets handed down. You weren't born just into a body. You were born into a lineage, and that lineage carries scars. Abandonment, war, suppression, silence, shame. They didn't start with you, but they end with you if you choose. Because here's what no one tells you. The pain you feel may not be about your childhood, your breakup, or your job. It might be your great-grandmother's grief, your father's fear, your ancestors' unspoken screams. That's why the ache feels ancient, because it is. You are the first in your line conscious enough to witness it, to stop running, to feel what they couldn't. You break the spell not by understanding it, but by honoring it. When you grieve for them. When you cry, you rinse the bloodline. When you forgive, you unbind generations. And pain becomes medicine, not just for you, but for those who came before you, and those yet to come. This is why spiritual awakening is so heavy, because you're not just lifting your weight, you're lifting theirs. But this is the power the system doesn't want you to know, that one aware soul can rewrite centuries. One honest breath can shift ancestral fate. One moment of presence can end cycles that lived for ages. So next time the ache returns, the kind you can't name, can't locate, can't explain, don't dismiss it. Ask it. Whose voice are you, and what do you need me to release? Because if you listen close, you'll hear the whisper of an ancestor saying, "Thank you, we've been waiting for someone like you." Knowing that pain has a purpose is only the beginning. Now, you need to work with it, because pain ignored becomes trauma, but pain processed becomes power. Here's how you do it, not philosophically, but practically. 1. Radical presence. When pain hits, emotional, physical, spiritual, stop everything. Breathe into the area that hurts. Don't run. Don't distract. Just sit, feel, and name what's happening inside your body. Pain is like a child. It screams louder when ignored. 2. Track the pattern. Most suffering isn't new. It's a loop. Same trigger, different mask. Start journaling each wave of pain. What happened? What belief was activated? What reaction followed? After a while, the pattern emerges, and when you see it, you can break it. 3. Rewrite the story. Your mind doesn't just react to pain. It narrates it. And most of those narratives were inherited or programmed. I'm not enough. People always leave. I deserve this. These are viruses, codes that replicate suffering. You have to recode them, create new scripts. I survive because I'm strong. My pain proves my depth. This experience is making me into someone unshakable. Not toxic positivity, but true reauthorship. 4. Move the energy. Pain isn't just emotional, it gets stored physically. So you must move, shake, dance, scream into a pillow, punch a bag, do breath work until the dam breaks. You don't have to understand it. You just have to let it move through you. 5. Ritualize. Release. Pain needs ceremony. Light a candle, burn a letter, stand under the sky and scream the old identity away. Declare, I let go of what isn't mine. I keep only what fuels my becoming. Because pain, when ritualized, doesn't haunt, it transforms. 6. Serve through it. Here's the final step. Turn your healed pain into service. Help others. Speak, write, create. The wound that once silenced you becomes your lighthouse. Because someone out there is still drowning in what you just survived. Let your healing become the map for someone else's return. That's how pain becomes legacy. Have you noticed it? The moment you feel pain, physical, emotional, existential, the world rushes in with a solution. Pill, scroll, drink, diagnosis, distraction. It's never sit with it. Ask it why it came. Listen. Why? Because pain, consciously felt, is dangerous to the system. It wakes you up. It makes you question. It strips illusions faster than any book or teaching, so they numb it, package it, pathologize it. Because a population that avoids pain is a population easily controlled. Think about it. If you're taught to fear discomfort, you'll do anything to stay safe, obey, consume, conform. You'll trade your soul for a dopamine hit. You'll stay in cycles that suffocate you, just to avoid confrontation. You'll live a life not of truth, but of tolerable lies. But pain? Pain refuses lies. It screams when you betray yourself. It aches when you abandon your path. It tightens your chest when your spirit is shrinking. So the system had to rebrand it. Don't feel, fix. Don't process, perform. Don't face it, flee. Even modern spirituality has fallen into the trap. High vibes only. Love and light. Don't focus on the negative. But here's the truth. Pain is sacred shadow work. It is the doorway to depth, to wisdom, to real transformation. A spirituality that avoids pain isn't awakening. It's anesthesia. The mystics knew this. That's why the desert, the cave, the wilderness were always part of the path. You want to meet your soul? Then meet your pain. And not just meet it, walk with it. Because pain doesn't need to be healed. It needs to be heard. And once it is, its grip loosens. It becomes a guide, a companion, a compass. Here's what they never taught you. Pain is not just something to survive. It's something to learn from, to listen to become through. Because pain has memory, not just of what happened, but of what's possible. You see, every time you break, there's a blueprint inside the breakdown, a map, but it's written in tears, in trembling, in silence, in nights you didn't think you'd make it. Pain doesn't just echo the past, it reveals the future. It says, this version of you is done, the next version is waiting. Will you shed the skin? That's why transformation hurts. It's not because you're failing, it's because you're outgrowing. But growth isn't linear, it spirals, and every spiral comes with friction, with burn, with unraveling. Your job is not to escape it, but to move through it with awareness. Because on the other side of pain is presence, and with presence comes power. You begin to see the pattern, you feel the rhythm, you hear the deeper voice. The voice that says, you didn't break, you opened. And suddenly, The scar becomes sacred. The wound becomes wisdom. The fracture becomes frequency. You're no longer a victim of your story. You're the one who rewrote it, with fire. So here's my final question to you. What pain in your life have you spent years running from, but now realize was trying to wake you up? Drop it in the comments. Let this space be a mirror. You might say what someone else has been dying to hear, and in that reflection, healing begins. Because pain doesn't isolate us, it unites us. It speaks the one language we all understand. I've been there too, and I made it. And now, so will you.